Hi, welcome to IDS-410 for, what is it, June 30th to August, something. My name is Michael Fayer. I'll be your host. I do new videos for every class, every week. I don't recycle anything. So I'm sitting here today at 11:16 a.m. on Sunday the 29th. Class starts tomorrow. I'll get this posted probably later today, just for those of you who maybe like to get a head start. Where do we start? There's so much, huh? It's a 400 level class, 410. For many of you, this might be your capstone class. This might be it. You might graduate after this. For some of you, no, you've got more to go. I would say any 400 level course is going to be a challenge, okay? And I hope you accept that challenge and do not treat it like a 100 level class, right? This isn't basket weaving 101 or whatever that stereotype is. So problem solving for social change. It's a big title, it's a big topic. It's something that can cause some trouble for us, right? And so let's just get right into it. Now, in my module 1 announcement, the written version, I have a image of the lines of life, okay? On the left, right, it's to criticize, to gossip, to get involved, to encourage, and to help. Each line gets successively less people in line, meaning that by the time we get to help, there's just a smaller amount of people. Everybody's willing. We're all willing to point at problems, right? We can do it. We do it with our favorite sports team. If they only would have done this or that, we do it. Somebody else's golf game. We do it in terms of our political situation. We do it. It's like there's problems and somebody's got to do something, and we're all in an echo chamber of some type. I'm sure, if you think about it, right? Nothing wrong with that. I'm not criticizing that. I'm in that myself. But here we're going to look at what we can actually do. I'm going to be throwing a million cliches and meme sentences at you during this course. It's about getting your butt off the bench and into the game, get off the sidelines, things like that. Because that's what we're doing here, which is why, and the most important point that I cannot overstate is choosing your project, okay? I have had students choose to solve Israel-Gaza. Don't do that. I have had students present a proposal to solve climate change. Don't do that. Those are great topics, but let's consider, we're in university. As human beings, we all have a tendency to think bigger is better, okay? It's not here. It's not bigger is better, okay? What happens over here at that globe, okay, we want to do something realistically, okay? We only have about 6 weeks to do it. Course is 8 weeks, but this project is due in 7 weeks. You haven't even started yet. This week you're going to get your project together. And for many of you, especially any of you that are not watching this, who are not seeing what I'm saying, you're going to present a topic that's not doable, okay? I want something that's doable and local. You don't have to do it, okay? Let me give you an example. I had a student that wanted to solve the Israeli-Gaza war. We're in no position to do that as undergraduates. I don't care, if you're used to work for the UN or whatever. It's not going to happen, right? Let's be real. Okay, so whatever plan that student had about, U.S. Navy building inflatable piers and UN dropping food, let's be real, okay? Let's start somewhere, because that's where the rubber meets the road. Is it scary? Yes, because here's what I recommended. Okay, what would you rather do as a student? Put some presentation to solve the Israeli-Gaza war, which probably is actually easier than what I suggested to this student. I said, why don't you go in your big city that you live, find yourself a mosque and a temple, and see if they're having any interfaith events, meetings. Is the temperature so hot that people won't even talk to each other at a local level? Okay, are people knocking, hijabs off heads? Are they knocking off yarmulke, I forget what it's called, off people's heads, protests. We've seen all that. And I'm just giving you an example of a giant topic, bringing it down. You want to do it? Then hit the local. Find out what it would take for that temple and that mosque to talk to each other. And then just imagine how it is to solve wars, right? So you might want to stick to something else. I had someone else say organic farming. Well, I said organic farming is not inherently a problem, right? So they tried to explain it to me in terms of their agricultural experience, and I appreciate that. Here's what I suggested. Okay, you live around the Kansas City area. You find a neighborhood area where it might be a food desert, or even if not, there's a plot of land that could be a community garden, all right? And you decide how to get that plot of land to be used as a community garden. What does it take to present to the city, or who's trusting that land? Okay, then you decide how you're going to get, people to come there, and what's the circumstances. You're going to have to look at other community gardens to figure out how they do it. And you're going to talk about organic gardening, organic farming to those urban farmers, right? This is problem solving for social change at a local level that works, right? Okay, I'll give you one more example if I can think of it. I know there was one more I had. Yeah, okay. Someone was talking about, as a few more, there are things with schools, education, problem solve education, be real. One person was studying, he was a veteran with daughters, all into sports, was coaching teams, he was studying to become more of a athletic director at a university level or a high school level. Wanted to get the district there to start teaching about Title IX, equality in sports. And I said, okay, let's be real. You can't even get local school districts aren't even teaching so many subjects anymore. Getting a Title IX class in there is not going to work, probably. What I recommended to him, though, is that as he considers himself moving up the chain into an athletic director position, develop your own curriculum, okay? Because when you are the athletic director, you're going to be able to bring in your coaches from all your different sports and teams, show them this curriculum, what Title IX is, what it means, and how that works. Then probably bring in the athletes, okay? Explaining it to them. In this way, you're throwing a stone into the pond and starting that ripple effect that changes society, right? Instead of doing it all at once, We're going to see a lot of topics having to do with veterans, healthcare, internet, all kinds of things. And, there's floodplains, there's racism, there's all kinds of things I've seen. What I want you to do is, okay, if you want to take the big problem, but mash it down locally. How can you make a difference? Because essentially that's what we're doing here, okay? We're going to see. And I've had plenty of students that actually then implemented their plan. Someone wanted to go with sustainability. And I said, well, okay, you're not going to change sustainability, but how about your company? What she ended up doing in the place she worked was they ended up eliminating all paper products and had reusable materials, microwaves, dishwasher, plates, utensils. Each department had a schedule on when it was their turn to keep things clean. And that way they eliminated 95% of all the waste. So there are things to do that are very pertinent to problem solving for social change, depending on the social change you want to see, okay? Please read all my announcements. I try not to be repetitive in terms of video and watch the videos. Read the material. This material is put out by Southern New Hampshire. I don't have access to changing the curriculum, so it may seem like they're going to lean a little more evenly on, climate change, sustainability, wars, things like that. I am going to emphasize taking it down. Now, my credentials in teaching are Arizona State University for 6 years. I taught research, interdisciplinary research. It's a course almost exactly like this. Okay, each student came with their own expertise, their own experience, many non-traditional students like I was. We were able to drive their ideas into a manageable project, okay? please set up a call with me. I am very available to talk to. It's so nice to get students off on the right foot with these projects, okay? Because frankly, you don't know what you don't know, and what's coming, I know. So I kind of know what's going to work and what might not. So lean on me, because frankly, I'm the one giving you the grades, right? Go through the material, module 1. There's a lot of good stuff. There's resources there. Don't skim through it. There are optional resources I recommend using too, just to familiarize yourself that they're there, okay? Because it's a 410 level course. It's nothing to sneeze at, right? Okay, my background also to do this is, for example, when the Israel-Gaza conflict started, it's about a month or so into it, my oldest son, who's in his 30s, texted me, he said, Dad, why aren't you posting anything on Twitter about this? I don't believe you're not. Why aren't you? I said, well, number one, I try not to be a keyboard warrior. Number two, I said, are you my son? Because remember, from 2009 to 2012, I was a volunteer for Lutheran Social Services of the Southwest, and I'm not a religious guy, it just happened to be the organization. And I was working with resettled refugees in Phoenix, way on the west side. And I would go there, and I had a family I would mentor from Eritrea, mom, dad, 7 kids, 2-bedroom apartment. There's stories that I have. I mean, I linked an article that was written about me for ASU in the announcement. So I tried to work with them. Then I was teaching courses at their main center for newly arrived refugees. I was giving them a orientation to Phoenix. I was giving them a class on job interview skills, and I was giving them a class on technology, because I do sell technology on the side for 27 years. This was my contribution to problem solving. What was the problem? The problem was having people adapt to American culture, people that have been through so much that many of us, I know I couldn't have done. And so I had a lot of admiration for them, as I do for you, as I did for myself. And it was a very rewarding experience. I went to college when I was 52. I think my background shows that. Graduated at 56, my undergrad, interdisciplinary studies. My concentrations were human rights and African American studies. I then went on. I was going to go to grad school at Howard University, went there, changed my mind, came back because I'm a single dad, raising 2 sons by myself since 2005, but they are 25 and 33 now. So, but you know, you're always raising parents. You know, you're always raising your kids, right? I started teaching at ASU. They asked me to teach because I have a varied background. There's almost no job. I could probably have something in my experiences that resonates with what you are experienced with, dealing with, seeking out, whether it's arts. I'm a writer, filmmaker, painter, photographer. I was in law enforcement as a sergeant, leader of the emergency response team. I've been in business selling $6 million worth of technology a year back in my heyday, and a number of blue-collar jobs, as well as entrepreneurship and things like that. So I think I can relate. So you're going to come at me with your expertise and your projects, and I'm not going to say, I'm not an expert at organic farming, I'm not an expert at physical therapy, biology, healthcare, whatever this is, but I am good at contextualizing things, helping you to see your project in a way that's doable, providing the resources for it, and then moving forward, okay? I won't drag you out too long, keep this under 15 minutes because they want me to. Let me know any questions, email me. I have seen in the past, my past classes here, that a lot of times you don't get to see your instructor, listen to your instructor, or even speak to your instructor. You get to do that with me. Okay? Now, I'm a Columbia enthusiast. I go to Columbia multiple times. I'm not going to be in Columbia while I'm teaching. I can't. I travel. You'll notice on my announcement that I lost my Jeep this week. I'm pretty bummed out. We all have our obstacles. It's actually very traumatic, okay? I used to joke it's the best relationship I've ever been in. I used to live in it before the pandemic while I was teaching ASU online. I would go around the country, Airbnbs, live in my Jeep, see a lot of the country. I traveled across Europe while teaching online. I can't travel here while online, teaching online, but let me know, okay? I can't wait to get to know you. Post in your first discussion board the things that are on there. Do a, you can post pictures even and things like that. Let's get through this. I just went over my 15 minutes. All right, you guys. SNHU, okay, peace. Talk to you soon.